brings you down, life kicks you back up. It's such a roller coaster. Ugh, that's messed up. It's just the story of our lives. This podcast is brought to you by Creating You. Creating things creatively. That's just the story of our lives.
Hello and welcome to the third episode of Life Story. I'm your host, Andrea Cordova, and I'm here today with an old college friend, Ruby. Ruby, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi guys, I'm a news producer, and yeah, that's what I do.
Wow,
I'm
nice and simple.
Yeah,
How old
nice
are you?
and simple. I'm 28. I'm from Laredo, Texas. Still in Laredo, but really happy about it because I get to see my family and stuff. And yeah, and I met Andrea when we were both put together in a college project, like in an online series. What would we call it? Like online
web series?
Web
Right?
series,
Web series,
yeah.
yeah.
A web series. We both got picked for a project because we both wanted to explore other things that we wanted to do, had free time
Yeah,
to do it. Yeah.
That was an interesting time in all of our lives, really.
Really interesting. We weren't really sure what we wanted to do.
Nope. For those of you who might be curious on finding it anywhere on the internet, go ahead and type in YouTube, The Late Nell Avery. There is a clip in which you might see Ruby's floating head just in the background.
Yes.
I don't know what episode that's in. I don't even know what season that's in.
I don't remember. I know my head's in there somewhere. I'm glad I'm production, or I was production for that, but I know my head's in there somewhere. I just don't know where. I honestly could not. We could go back and ask our friend that executive produced it, but yeah. No.
It was great.
Go find it, internet.
Go find it, internet. We trust in you. So to start today off, I want to go ahead and whip out some speed roundy type speed dating questions. Rapid fire questions. Yes.
Okay.
So just answer with the thing that comes to your head, like immediately. No holding back. Just all in. All right.
This will be fun. This will be fun and embarrassing, I'm sure.
This first one's easy.
Okay.
What was your childhood dream job?
Oh God, I'm really embarrassed to put this out, but it's the funniest thing I have. So here you go. One time, really seriously, we were at Walmart paying for our groceries. I can't even remember what it was. I was probably like 5 or 6. And I never told my mom this, but I looked up at the cashier like that was my dream job. Legit. Because you're a kid and you don't know like how much people make or like what happens or like you don't know what it is. But that person was really nice and really like awesome. And I was like, I want to bring people's groceries one day when I grow up.
Oh my God, that's so wholesome and sweet. Oh, I love that. All right. If you could be good at any one skill, what would it be and why?
I would be better. I'm pretty good at writing. That's maybe just me being not as humble as I'd like to think everybody I am. But I'm pretty good at writing. But if I could, I would get better at getting myself to sit down and actually write the things that happen in my head. If that makes sense. Like actually sitting down and doing the thing rather than daydreaming about it. Mm-hmm. That's the thing I think would fix my life like this.
I think that's the thing that would fix everyone's lives. Just sit down and do the
thing.
Do the
thing. Just do the thing.
What from Legend of Korra? Did you watch that?
No, but doing the thing. Oh my God! I just
my heart's broken.
I just committed sacrilege and like killed like a little lamb on somewhere.
It's fine. There's a lot of love-hate relationship with Legend of Korra, so we'll just move on from that.
We'll move on.
Fine.
Move whatever. On from that fandom paddle. Fine, whatever.
What was your first job?
My first job, I worked at Converges, which now it's called by another name, but it's still a call center here. So for college, that's what I did, at least here at home.
Mhm.
That's what I did while I was doing college. And it was just a call center with internet problems, with it was internet cable that I would work with. So anybody's internet in Northwest Chicago went down and you were with Comcast, like it was Northwest Chicago, New England area. So if your internet went down, maybe throughout 2010 to 2012, I might have talked to you at some point to help you either fix your internet or that kind of deal.
Oh my goodness. Is this why you're so personable?
Yeah, I think it's half the reason. Like, one is just I like people. Like, I don't mind talking to people and getting to know people. Like, that's fun in general. But the other one is because I have a pretty awesome, like, phone voice and pretty good at, like, especially escalating people down from not having internet, because
Yeah.
those people are calling angry and they forget it's an actual human on the phone
I mean,
sometimes.
I may have been one of those people a handful of times. Apologies.
Believe me. No, believe me.
I think we've all been
Okay,
there
got that.
one or two
Yeah.
times.
For sure. Even if somebody has done it before, I've yelled at people.
All right. What do you
Mhm.
want to do when you retire?
When I retire, mentor.
Really?
Yeah, I would really want to mentor. I came from a background where my mom is a teacher, or she was a teacher early in my life, so I grew up around that. But like mentoring people and kind of, I don't know, teaching them or like giving them advice, or I think that would be a lot of fun, and it would bring like a lot of fulfillment to me. And of course, enjoy the family, whatever family I might have, or however that might look like.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I can
think
definitely
mentoring
see you
would be
do
fun.
that. That'd be awesome. All right. Last question. What is your favorite film right now?
Right now, oh god, I what was the last thing I saw? Girl, I haven't gone to the movies in a minute.
I mean, neither have I. I literally watch
But-
things on Amazon.
Right now, and I think it'll forever be one of my favorites, and this will bring back like the fandom in me. Captain America, like Civil War, not Civil War, Winter Soldier.
Really?
It's not one of my most favorite films ever, but it's made an impact that out of all of the Marvel movies that I've ever seen, and you know how big of a Marvel fan I am,
Yeah.
I think that's always going to be my favorite, just because of what it did to the cinematic universe and how it flipped it on its head completely. And I didn't see it coming. With such a big a fan I am, or with, oh god, that didn't make sense. But with how big of a fan I am of the thing, most things don't surprise me because I'm so deep in fandom for the things I'm a fan of. When that movie managed to surprise me and flip the whole universe on its head, where Shield, who was supposed to be the safe one, ended up being Hydra, and I didn't even see it coming, I was like, I want to do that one day with a story or something. But I want to surprise people so much that you just, what? You pull the ground out from under people? I love that when movies do it. Oh, the last thing I saw was also with Chris Evans, but it was Knives Out. Knives Out was so much fun. It's like a murder mystery whodunit type deal.
Ooh.
It has Ana de Armas, and Ana de Armas is awesome at acting or anything she does in that realm. But it was a lot of fun because it was another one of those where you were just like, who did it? It's all these party of guests, and who really killed the person?
I think I'm definitely going to have to watch that. And unfortunately, just like you broke my heart 5 minutes ago, I'm going to have to break yours.
Please do.
I've never
It's
seen
okay.
Winter Soldier.
It's fine. It's okay.
It's
As
the
much as you-
only Marvel movie I haven't seen.
I dug it a lot, especially for the surprises it did. Especially at the time, I wasn't seeing what was coming out of the movie. I didn't see it coming. And I will go on record on the internet saying, for any Marvel fans, you're going to hate me. But the last 15, 20 minutes of Endgame could have not happened, and I would have been happy with it.
I mean, you're not wrong.
We don't need to go into like intricacies and discuss like what shouldn't have happened. But I will say go on record bringing any internet hate that wants to come my way, because it's Marvel. those 15-20 minutes should have not happened.
I can see your point.
Thank you.
Sort of.
You're like, sort of. But yeah.
I mean, I appreciated some of the aspects of it. Like the old man Chris Evans was a nice touch.
It was a nice touch. It's good to know that if he ages in that route and he keeps taking care of himself, he'll age well.
That's what you took out of that scene? That?
I took out a lot more from that scene.
Okay.
I like that Sam Wilson became Captain America.
Yes.
But there are a couple problems that I have with how Steve Rogers ended up in that universe. And how I think it goes against his character, in a way. And the progression he made, if that makes sense.
Yeah, okay. That I understand. But that's a conversation for another day.
Definitely, for sure. When we get more into storytelling routes, for sure.
Yes. So,
go.
something that I do want to touch on is what inspired you to start in a career of news production / reporting, the news industry, really?
One, getting people's story out there. Two, I got a degree in a field, and I'm very much of not wasting what you've done and wasting your opportunities. And you wanted to do the thing, we'll do the thing. And where I'm at in life, that was the easiest option to get and the easiest job opportunity to go for. Where it was in it, that made sense. If I didn't want to move, if I wanted to stay at home, if I wanted to build some sort of resume, that's what made sense strategically. But also, like, I've learned with time, getting to know people's story, getting to produce, getting to like see how I like stories being told, it's taught me a lot about storytelling in general. But what made me do it was just like, I got the degree in the thing and I'm not doing the thing.
Fair enough. When you're talking about storytelling, how have you noticed that the way that you tell stories impacts the way that other people tell stories? I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, do you see a trend in news reporting that it is going to be more about telling people stories and getting it out there, or is it just, like, straight facts to the news?
Well, okay, this is very objective from my point of view, too. So, and everybody in the news industry has their own point of view, too. We'll clear that out, too.
Yeah. And
you got to put your spin on it to be able to get the story out there accurately and how you will tell it best, too. Because it's also of Andrea, you would probably tell the story better in a podcasting forum, or you would better tell the story about somebody else by talking to them. Whereas with me, it might look better when I write it, when I edit it, once I like put it together. And like, you know what I mean? Or even sit down in an interview, but like it might sound better once I write it.
Okay.
Just putting that out there. But I would hope that it's going to focus more on people and human and the impact of the story rather than the way okay, how do I say this without getting in trouble? I want more humanity to come into news.
Yeah.
And that's something that I personally want.
I feel like that's where news started. Like when we think about like the history of journalism and we think about how it started with being for the people. I just think it's kind of taking a route that like doesn't necessarily stay on path always, but I do think that there are tons of fantastic reporters out there who are doing great jobs at telling a story.
I'm really happy at the people that stand up and it's like, no, this is how reporting is done, and then you see it get done that way and you're like, that's how I should be doing it. That's my favorite thing when I see that in news.
Are there any reporters that you like really admire?
There are, but then that would bring out my personal views, and as a news person,
I can't say
have.
No worries. I will ask you this off record.
Please do,
because I definitely want to know.
I'm happy to go off record with you. You're one of my favorite people, so I'm happy.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome.
So, I guess let's kind of start towards the beginning of like what shaped you as a person. I know that like for me, I was like 12 years old when like everything kind of started happening all at once, and that's when I really came into who I was. Around what age did you really start identifying with your personality?
With my personality, I'd say really early. Like in general, really early, I just kind of knew what I wanted. and maybe didn't go for it as aggressively as I should have. But I think very young, I knew storytelling was really important to me.
Interesting.
And like, my dad would sit me down and we would look at like novelas and say like, this would have gone better had she done this, or maybe this word choice, or I don't like how the story is going. Like, we would discuss it really, really early. So that came really early. But then I didn't think about it being a possible career for me until I started doing one act, which here in Texas is a competition that does like theater. And I was in production. And my dad had a brief second where he was like, you should be an actress. And I was like, no. I like telling the actors what to do, and I like controlling the parameters in a certain way. So production, I think, is what I want to do, because they're the ones that are really pulling the strings. And they're the ones that are really telling the stories. Like, actors do their job, don't get me wrong. But I like the behind the scenes aspect. It's more interesting to me than the acting aspect. But I'm not against it, if that makes sense. Like, if something comes up and it looks fun enough, I'd be down to try it.
All right, I will let you know if I have any opportunities come over my desk.
Please do.
So what does your dad do?
An accountant.
Really? So mom was a teacher, dad accounting, but your dad has a passion for storytelling, or like what made him get you into it?
Well, we've just always been a family. Well, at least with my dad, we've always discussed storytelling and how we like this movie and how we don't like this movie and how we like that actor and why we don't like that actor and why this came off better on screen rather than that came off better on screen. It's just like the things we would talk about growing up. It's not like it was something this versus that, but like I really enjoy going to movies with my dad and then getting his opinion after, or having him watch a movie and then have him give me his opinion afterward. And then it could be like 3 hours long, like whatever we talk about.
Do you guys still do that?
Yeah.
That's
sometimes
so awesome.
We do that, and I have like this vague dream of mine. I don't know if it's ever gonna happen, but I think it would be really fun to sit down with my dad and write a story with him. But like, he writes the Spanish version and I write the English version. I think that would be like really awesome.
That would be so cool.
Like, I have it in the back of my head, and it's something I've always had in the back of my head. In Spanish, we call it like a sueño guajiro type deal, like when it's like a daydream you have, or like some type of like thing you have in the back of your head that you've always wanted to do, you just don't have it done for some reason, or you just haven't sat down and had the time to do it, or made the time to do it. But I kind of want to do that.
Is your dad retired?
No, he's not, but we could find the time, I'm sure.
It would be really cool. I just want to like encourage, nudge in the direction of doing that, because I would absolutely love to see the outcome of what that would be.
Like, but not even writing or novel or anything, just like some sort of story, whether it's like a production or something, but telling a story. He tells it in Spanish, I tell it in English. I think that would be a lot of fun.
I think so
in general.
That and it's like an opportunity that not a whole lot of people get to have, you know, like not everyone shares interests with their parents. So that's a really cool, unique thing that you have. So,
for sure.
Is there anything that happened in one act that really like one particular thing that was like, yes, this is now officially what I want to do? Like, what was that defining moment?
Well, for starters, I don't think I even wanted to join one act, if I'm completely honest. Like, I did want to, like, I was interested in it, but it wasn't something that I was like, oh, let's do this. But I did it because my teacher at the time was like, hey, I think you would be good, really good for production. If you want to try it, this is where we meet. This is what happens. Come over. So I did it. I went. And then we started doing the production, because I was the assistant stage manager. I was never the stage manager, but I was assistant stage manager, which I feel is very much what I did for the Late Night Library. Like, I wasn't so much executive producing, but I was like the right-hand person to the person that was in charge. And I think that's where I'm really good, because I get to talk to like whoever is like, I hate the term, but whoever's in like the lower ranks, and let them know their interests, and let like the executive producer or whoever's in charge know. It's like, hey, these are the problems they're having. How do we fix them?
Oh.
And that's a really interesting, that's what I'm doing right now in news production, if you think about it, because I produce 2 live newscasts, and I'm in charge of those 2 live newscasts, but I still have a news director and an assistant news director, but I'm right under them too. Like, I don't like being the person in charge, but I do like being like right next to it to be able to be like, hey, these are the problems everybody else is having. How does we fix this in the show? Or like, this keeps happening with the anchor. How can I make him not do that anymore? Type deal.
Gotcha. What makes you not want to be the person in charge?
I don't like, I'm getting better at it, especially with my job. I've had to, and I think it's served me well. But I don't like being the one that's like, hey, you made this decision. These are the circumstances. This is the fallout of it. I don't know. I just don't like being the one in charge, so to speak, just because I don't like having all that weight on me, per se. Like, I like having some of the weight on me, but I take the weight on too personally to be able to be the head in charge. I might work my way up to it later in life, like definitely for sure, but I take it too personally, I think. And I put too much weight in the decisions. And I think too much about people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, because I think we ran into this once or twice probably in El Avery where like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So for context, the late Nell Avery, we ran into issues where we were being overworked as actors and staff, and it was kind of just a gigantic mess for the wrap of season 1. And Ruby actually is one of the biggest like pieces of the puzzle that helped us fix our problems, because there was scheduling conflicts with one of the actors, and so she helped us figure out a situation so that we could get a new actor. And it was like this whole heap of problems that basically went all the way through season 1 and then half of season 2, and then you can actually see on screen the impact that the changes that Ruby implemented affect how it affected the rest of the cast and like the rest of the entire production as a whole. So
and I'm so happy I got to graduate, but I'm so sad that I didn't get to see the changes because I implemented them, and I'm so happy the way they looked on screen. But I didn't get to see like the human aspect. I didn't get to see you be happier with your schedule. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I also feel like if you're the person in charge, it makes you unapproachable to everybody else. And I need the human connections to care about the work, if that makes sense. Okay.
What was like something, like, have you been able to define what made you care about human connections?
I think it's just, one, my mom cares a lot, to an extreme to where it's not, okay, I'm not going to get out here and tell her personal business. But my mom cares a lot about people in general. And my dad cares, but he's a lot more reserved about it.
Okay.
And I feel like seeing them care. My mom in her loud ways, and my dad in his like quiet, reserved, like I'm not gonna bother anybody, but you need this. And like seeing him do it through tough love, and then seeing my mom do it through like teaching and mentoring kids and like taking care of kids, and then doing the things like most people don't do for people just because she's just nice like that. Watching them do that, I think it just makes me care in general. Like I don't have like one moment where I can tell you, oh, this is why I care about humans. I just remember doing it, you know?
That's wonderful.
I'm really happy.
I really hope that like continues to be a thing in society in general, that like as long as like you're raising your kids with kindness, it tends to have a trickle down effect. So just be kind. Human just race, please.
you don't know who's watching at the end of the day, like when you're being kind. It's happened a couple times in jobs where like you don't know who's watching, and all of a sudden you get a tip for this, or all of a sudden you get like, hey, I like the interview we did, so like let's do something else with that. You know what I mean? You don't know who's watching out of being kind. So it's half being practical and also half like just caring about people.
Yeah.
Because like, I mean, at the end of the day, what bother is it getting out of your car, putting the cart inside the thing, like when you're at like HEB or whatever, putting the cart inside where you're supposed to so that the next person can park where they're going to park without having to like get angry. You know what I mean? Because it happens every day, but like I've been guilty of like, I don't care, I don't have time, let me go. I'll just leave the cart wherever I left the cart.
I guess that's actually a good question. What is maybe one thing that you're embarrassed about doing that like wasn't like the best version of yourself that day.
Okay. Or whichever day. I know I've done it. It's just one of those moments where you're like, hell, why isn't it coming to my head?
I mean, if it helps, I can segue it a little bit with my own story.
Go for it, and then I'll start thinking of something while you tell your story.
There was one time that I shoplifted.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a pair of earrings from Kohl's.
Okay.
And I was shopping with my stepmom, and I didn't want to ask her to pay for them because I knew that money was tight, and she was already buying me like a sweater because I went to Chicago with like 0 warm clothes because I'm from Texas, so I had no warm clothes. So she was buying me things already, but like I saw it was like music note earrings, like they were like super cheesy, like not even important, but I wanted them really bad. So I took them off of the earring holder and put them in my ears because I just didn't want, like at the time I was like, oh, like it's not that bad because I just don't want to ask her for them. But then like, no, it really is that bad because you just stole. So
exactly. Like you just did the thing anyway.
Yep.
Well, I'm going to bring it back to, I'm not super proud of this, but it did happen. Back in, when was it? I think most of my regrets come out of like, oh, I knew that person was suffering, or I knew that person was having a bad time, and I didn't reach out, and I didn't do like my due diligence, or like I didn't like. It might sound like really small and really, but like later on you find out it's like, oh, I had a feeling about Andrea, or I knew she wasn't going through the best time, and I could have made it easier had I told Christy about like what was happening. Do you know what I mean?
Oh.
The not wanting to confront because of the people that are under me, or the lack of not wanting to confront in general, has brought on a lot of problems, to say the least.
Yeah.
It could have made it easier for a lot of people a lot sooner had I spoken up sooner. And because I don't want to confront, because this same issue is bringing problems in the current industry I'm in too. Just for me personally. Where like I don't want to take responsibility, or I don't want to like speak up in general. I just don't want to bother. I don't want to mess with the flow. I don't want to make anybody angry. So I don't say like, hey, this person's doing this and this and this. If they stopped doing this, this and this, it would make our jobs easier. A lot of my problems, or a lot of the things I feel guilty about, I think I could root back to like not speaking up because I want to avoid a certain confrontation, whatever the confrontation might be.
You know, I think that's something that everyone has that feeling of, because confrontation is not easy in any capacity. And what I think is kind of crazy is like I have the same issues, but like in a very different way. So like for me, my guilt comes from a lack of initiative, I guess, because it's the same thing as confrontation. So like, as an example, I will always have this in my memory, and it will always be a pain point for me. But it's a situation where I had a friend who commented on an Instagram post. Basically, like I was wearing a promise ring from my high school sweetheart boyfriend, and so she was like, "Oh my god, I didn't know that you were engaged," and I ignored the comment, like thinking like I was like, like I don't really talk to her, and like I don't owe her an explanation as to why I'm wearing this ring. And like a week later, she passed away.
Oh god.
Yeah. So it's like, and that's like not the first time that kind of incident has happened to me. So it's like the lack of desire to speak up or to say something can definitely impact in huge ways. And I think everyone struggles with that. So it's like, speak up.
Yeah,
just do it.
Just do it. It would resolve a lot of issues in general. But I'm trying to genuinely think. I think I don't want to sound lame, but I honestly think I'm a goody two shoes in the sense that like I can't feel something. Like I can't, like, you know what I mean? Like I can't not follow rules. Like I can follow the rules. I can talk you out of wanting me to follow the rules, but I can't not follow the rules. So like in an aspect where like I genuinely got in trouble for something. Actually, okay. When we were way younger, my middle brother, I'm just not putting names out there, everybody, so just don't.
No names.
So my middle brother, we were way younger. I was like 5 or 6 and he was like 2 or 3, maybe. I might be chopping our ages. We might have been a little bit older, but we were for sure under 10, both of us.
Okay.
And there's like a 5-year age gap. So like I should know better.
Oh no.
At that point, I should have known better.
Oh no.
So basically, we got really mad about something. I don't know what it was, but I didn't look to see what was happening around me or where his fingers were placed or what was happening. So I just opened the door and screamed at him. Turns out that his little tiny finger was in between the doorknobs and in between the door notches.
Oh,
so
no.
Yeah, so like you could see his finger and you could see like a little bit of it, the insides in there. But that's one of the reasons why I don't like reacting out of anger. Exactly, like that. It's one of the reasons why I hate reacting out of anger, just because me reacting out of anger brought that out. And we had to go to the ER and we had to do the thing. But it's me as an older sister. I mean, also granted, I was under 10, so like we were kids.
Yeah.
But me as an older sister, I should have seen it's like, oh, that's where his hand was. And maybe had I wanted to yell at him, just yell at him through the door or something. I don't know.
Oh my goodness.
So like, yeah.
I mean, it's a tough lesson to learn, but I guess.
But I learned it.
So you have 2 siblings or 3?
2
siblings. 2 younger
Mhm.
brothers, so you're the oldest?
Yeah.
What's it
Yeah.
like being the oldest sister?
I love it.
Really?
I can't complain. Like there's some instances where I was just like, I wish I had a sister, but life has given me a person that I consider my like sister forever and ever. So I'm really grateful for that, and I'm grateful that I got the sister later in life because I don't think I would have been a good sister when I was younger because I was pretty possessive and jealous.
Oh.
I don't want to put the story out there. I'm not going to, but off record, I'm sure I've told it to you, of my reaction when the middle brother, was born was not graceful or nice.
Gotcha. Okay.
And yeah, but being the eldest, I honestly enjoy it a lot. And I like the closeness it's given me to my parents and being able to appreciate my parents in general.
Mm-hmm.
In the sense where I think I'm the most liable for them to see as an adult, whereas my baby brother had to fight, or not even fight, but like he just had to grow up for us to see him as an adult. I feel like I had not a hand in raising my brothers because I never raised them, but I feel like I had enough of an influence to where I steered some things in them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. What's your relationship like with them?
With my middle brother, it's not up and down. It's a lot better now that we're like adults about situations. But it's very much extremes. It's either really great or really bad. But we fix it whenever it's really bad because I can't stand being pissed at anybody in my family. Like I can't. Mm-hmm. Like I don't like it. It makes me feel uncomfortable and whatever. And we have a pretty good family dynamic in the sense that we get angry with each other. Let's just either talk it out if we need to or brush it under the table. We're still family at the end of the day. Like that won't affect it. With the youngest, I feel like we're a lot more similar in how we are as people. So it's been a lot easier. And with the youngest, I've never felt like I was talking to a kid that was younger than me, if that makes sense. He's a lot more mature for his age, I've considered, than most kids his age. So I've never felt like I was talking to a kid when I was talking to him. Oh. And it's pretty loving and pretty nice. And we're like, I guess you could say the nerdy out of the two. We're the nerdier ones. But Ricky, if you saw him in the street, you wouldn't even be able to tell he's a nerd. Like, it wouldn't even cross your mind.
Okay. That makes sense.
Because he doesn't look like a nerd, but he is very much, yeah. Yeah.
We won't give it a word. We won't give it a word. Because there could be a lot of different words.
It could be a lot of different words and it could be a lot of different things. But simply with the college he's going to and the college he's going to graduate from, MIT, that should tell you how smart the kid is.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, simply with that.
Yeah.
Like any kid that was able to get into MIT, you talk to them like when they were kids, and you're like, you are not a child. What? Yeah.
I mean, that's really impressive for sure.
For sure. No, yeah. But my relationships with them are pretty good. They're really different, but they're pretty good, I would consider.
And then you live at home.
Yes, I do.
So is your relationship with your parents nice and strong as well?
Yes. Like, there are certain things, of course, we all have a couple of things where they just press that button and you're just like, be quiet, go away, leave me alone, because I don't want to get angry at you right now.
Yeah.
I should, but I don't want to. So I'll think about this rationally and tell you off in a more practical way later.
Yeah, how do you deal with issues? Is it just kind of like I just need to cool down, or how do you face issues with your family?
For me, it's the cool down.
Cool down?
Because I need to see where I'm at, and I need to see what I'm seeing. Well, this is me about anything in general. I need to see where the other person is at, what I'm not liking about that person, and why I'm not liking that thing, what it's triggering in me.
Love that. What's been the most common thing that you recognize that you're like, oh, this is why I'm triggered? Like, for me, it's like whenever I feel like I'm being ignored, that's like my biggest trigger. So, like, for you, what is it?
When you're not respecting me, just in general.
Really?
Like, if I can tell from your tone of voice, or if I can tell from whatever that you're just kind of like writing me off for whatever reason, I won't bring it to your attention unless it's like an essential part of it, just because I don't like to bring up problems unless it's like something I need to bring to the table. Like, I don't like causing problems, period. Yeah. Like, I don't. So if it's going to be like, you don't respect me, but you're going to get this thing done, sure, whatever. I don't care. But if you don't respect me, and you need to respect me so that we can get this job done, or if you don't respect me and I'm coming to you with something vulnerable and something that hurts, and you're not respecting the fact that I'm sharing that with you, the hell?
Yeah.
That's what bothers me. Or not respecting people in general, like not being able to see like the person first rather than the problem. And I get it, especially in my industry, you don't have that luxury a lot of the time. Yeah. It's 5 days a week. Just my newscast alone, I alone put out 2 newscasts, and they're both live. But on a daily basis, we do, let's see, Telemundo Tu Casa, news at noon, 3:45, 4:30, 5 p.m. Telemundo, 10, and then on a daily basis, it's 7 newscasts that we put out in the newsroom, whether they're filmed or live. And we're about to add another one. So I get it why in my industry it's not something you have the luxury of doing.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes you just can't put the person first. Like, you can't.
That's kind of a bummer, though, because it's like, how do you formulate good relationships with your coworkers if you're not in the environment that you can respect them?
Exactly. And it's a little bit of an issue I'm personally having with the current industry I'm in. But the facts are like, it's a matter of like, this is the situation I'm in, and this is what I got to deal with for now.
That makes sense.
And some days, yeah, you just got to be practical about some things, sadly.
Yeah, it's fine. So when it comes to like your life as a whole, is there anything that truly sticks out to you that was life-changing?
When I was I'm going to say going from middle school to high school. So it was like 8th grade to 9th grade. In that transition, we found out, I'm not going to say where, but we found out I had an ingrown hair. Ooh. So I had to have surgery to remove the ingrown hair because of where it was. But it was during the transition of my background is basically I went from private school up until 5th grade. Then I went to my mom's school, 6th grade.
Mhm.
Like we went to my mom's school, so it was like more of a home tutoring basis for the Montessori program. And then for 7th grade, I did public school
Oh,
from 7th grade and on.
gotcha.
And I like that mix that's given me in retrospect, but while you're going through it as a teenager, it's not
Mhm.
the best thing. So the transition from 8th grade to 9th grade, I wasn't present for like the first 6 weeks of my freshman year in high school because of the recuperating of the surgery. And the recuperating of the surgery, I had the ingrown hair where it was in my tush, like it was. And at the point of the surgery, it grew like right next to my anus, like this.
Oh no,
They
thank
were-
you.
So they were able to get it out. Nothing major happened, but all of that had to regrow, and all of that had to like heal and come together again. And my mom had to I was a 13 to 14, right? When you're going from 8th grade.
Yeah. Well, 13 to 14 for 8th grade to freshman year is 14 to 15 usually.
Okay, so from 14 to 15, I was a grown girl, or feeling like I was a grown girl, with my mom helping me go to the restroom.
Oh.
Because it was down there. Like, it's not something that you could just
you can't really, it's like you lose that sense of independence.
So that helped me in the sense where, like, the first 6 weeks, I don't know, I missed out on them of high school. I think would be pretty formative, and you're forming your friendships. The cliques are barely happening. Everybody kind of like starts forming their friendships. By the time I got there, after the 6 to 8 weeks or whatever the recovery time was, everybody already had friends. The cliques were kind of forming, like they weren't like stick straight, and you could still move within them, but like you could see the lines drawn.
Oh, dang.
And I wasn't like an outsider per se, and I never had like a bullying experience. But I had to like quickly adapt to people and quickly find out it's like, oh, I like her, I don't like her, I like this side, da, 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 da. Oh, she's on that team. Oh, I thought she was on my team. And that came a lot quicker to me than the normal progression, I think.
It kind of put you in a position where you're like, I ain't got no time for bullshit.
Yeah, I don't have time to get to know y'all. I'll go on my instincts and I'll see what I like and I'll see who I find. But then again, high school is really confusing and not horrible, but it's not the best time, hopefully, for a lot of people.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately, high school, you look back on it and there's a couple of things where you're just like, why?
Yeah. Okay. Oh, high school. Why must you do us all dirty? Why?
But it really changed me in the aspect where I didn't have time to tiptoe around getting to know people. And I didn't have time to tiptoe and feeling things out. Where I'm more comfortable in like a safe space, taking things slow type deal. It got me comfortable with the aspect that, hey, sometimes life happens and you don't have a choice to take things slow. And you don't have a choice to like go with the flow and however it is that you're comfortable with. Sometimes you don't have time to set up your safe space. So you better make your safe space whatever it needs to be at that moment in time.
Yeah,
because
dang.
I'm very much about my space, my boundaries, my this and that. And that time didn't give me time to set any of that up or any of those parameters up. So sometimes life just doesn't do that.
Yeah, I mean, truest statement I've heard all year.
I've learned.
So, I guess we're kind of coming up to the end of the line. Is there any closing statements or advice you'd like to offer to anyone in the world right now?
Honestly, it's been a point, and me and Andrea have both made it. And it goes in hand with the podcast she's doing. And it's probably something I should do more of. Well, 2 things. 1, just do the thing. Whatever the thing is that you have in your head, just fucking do it.
Just do it.
Please. Just do it. I don't know if I'm allowed to curse here, but like,
you
just
are.
Do it. Okay.
Have you heard me?
Yeah.
Please.
I have, but like, I just wasn't paying attention if it was something we could do or not. And 2, just reach out. Like, if you're wondering how a person is doing, and for some reason you haven't done it, this podcast came because I reached out to Andrea. It's like, hey, I'm part of what you're doing. If you need help, let me know. And she's like, yeah, let's do the interview. And I was like, Okay, sure. I don't know what that's gonna do, but like, sure.
Have you had a good time? I need validation.
Yes, let me give you your validation.
Thank you. Thank you. All right.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I can sleep easy now.
Yes. No, but honestly, I'm really glad I reached out. Had I not reached out, I wouldn't be talking to a friend that I made like 5 years ago, and we wouldn't be on the same page about a couple of things and seeing how we've grown and seeing how we've progressed and talked about certain things that we've talked about. I'm glad we got to. But had I not reached out, this wouldn't be happening.
True.
So just reach out and do the thing.
Reach out and do the thing. Proud words from Ruby.
Yes. That can go on my tombstone. Hopefully in like 100 years when I die, that'll go there.
Jesus, you want to live that long?
I don't want to, but I don't want to limit myself either. So we'll see
All right,
where
fair
technology
enough.
takes us.
Fair enough. I mean, life is long and insufferable as it is. Let's not shoot
Let's
too
not
high
prolong
now.
it. But hey,
You know, it's fine.
it's fine. I don't want to limit myself either, so we'll see.
All right, let's hope that Ruby can get her 128 years of life down.
Oh God!
Hey, you wish for it.
I wish for it. I mean, like, it's going to be one of those cases where it's like, be careful what you wish for. But if that's what I have to do, I guess.
As long as you're like the abuelita that like makes the tortillas from scratch and like.
Girl, I'm horrible at cooking. I don't know what abuelita I'd be. I think I'd be the abuelita that would be like, no.
You can't be an abuelita and not know how to cook.
Girl. All the Mexican stuff that I should know how to cook, probably, because I'm not gonna end up here my whole life.
At least learn how to make tortillas. It's so easy. It's literally
I've
water,
made them
flour, and oil, and salt.
Okay. Next time we talk, by the next time we talk, you've given me my homework. Tortillas.
Tortillas. That's it. That's all I ask.
That's all I ask from you for now.
Jesus, now I want tortillas.
Well, you're in California, so I'm sure you can get them somewhere.
Literally, within walking distance, just not even a whole block that way. I'm good.
There you go. You're lucky you're there. Because I've got a friend in Vermont right now where she like asked for a couple things because I'm gonna go to near her neck of the woods in May to see my brother graduate at MIT.
Oh, nice.
So we're gonna see each other, and she's like, "You're gonna bring me this, and this, and this." And I'm just like, "Are you gonna give me money to buy this, and this, and this?" And she's like, "Yes." And I was like, "Okay, here."
See, I'm like that with my mom. In El Paso, we have this thing called Chico's Tacos, and it's like rolled tacos, like the fried kind. But they're like bathed in this tomatoey sauce type deal and then topped with like a mountain of processed cheese. It is the worst possible thing you could ever consume, but it is so good. And it only exists in El Paso, so I have to get it every time.
Yeah, there's a couple of things that I also, currently I live in a border town, which you come from too. And there's certain things that you can only get from Mexico where you're just like, I don't know what I'm going to do once I am not there anymore.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I finally visited Mexico, but we can get to that once we close.
Yes.
So in closing, I hope that what Ruby has shared out of her experience of life has been able to make a connection with someone out there so that you know that you're not alone. Because let's face it, we've all been there. We've all done that, unfortunately. And if she can get through it, so can you. If you want to be featured on the next episode of the podcast, make sure to reach out on Twitter or Instagram at CreatingDre or on my website, www.creatingyou.social. That's CREATING.SOCIAL. CreatingYou.social. I know, not .com. I messed that up on episode 1 of the podcast. That's my bad. I apologize. It's fine. But until next time, peace out, my dudes.